Well, hello, folks. Hello, hello. We are back. Back for more. Back for more. Finishing up, or getting close to finishing our little scene here. So, let's see. We'll reduce this down and bring it up where you all can see it. Play. So, yeah, we just have actually a few more frames at the end of this. But we do have, yeah. Well, we still got a little bit of painting to do here. Yeah. Okay. For those coming in late again, or just coming in, we have been animating and adding to the scene, and if you like working in Rough Animator, um, this is a great way to work if you're making a film and you don't want to edit it. You can make it as one continuous series. Well, you can make it as a series of scenes that you animate back to back. And you can use Rough Animator to do that. The one caveat you have to remember when you're animating is to not fill in the background layer in Rough Animator, because the background layer will stay with the entire scene. So all of your backgrounds that you do for each of your individual scenes in Rough Animator when you're working this way need to be on a layer that is separate from the background layer. Okay? That way you're not going to be stuck with one background for the entire film that you're making. Because you're not going to want one background. You're going to want different ones depending on, what the scene is going to be. So, there you go. All right. The reason that I'm not dropping paint into this for those who are new to this whole thing is because I am trying to blend. I'm using an airbrush color in here as opposed to just a solid color. I could use a solid color, but I'm choosing to use an airbrush color, being that there's colors that are going to blend and they're going to go next to each other, and there'll be soft edges. So I kind of have to draw it. I could drop it in, but it doesn't come in soft. So I need to handle the colors by hand like this. And the edges will be softer because I'm not because I'm blending them. As two colors hit each other, they kind of end up with soft edges, which is not what would happen if you were just dropping the colors on top of each other. It wouldn't look like that. So that's why we're doing it. And it's cool because if you do have big areas like I do on this, then it's not that hard to paint because you can just make a bigger brush, which is what I was doing here, and that'll allow you to fill in those big areas a little quicker. Now, when I start painting the ocean behind, I might choose to drop the color in. I'm thinking about doing that, but it'll depend on whether or not it creates a problem. Because if you drop solid color next to an airbrush color, you're bound to get an edge that doesn't necessarily look great. So that'll then depend on if that's how you want something to look. You can see how I'm going when I go in here with the color. with the airbrush how it might bleed over the edge into another area. But then when I drop the other color, or when I paint the other color in, it kind of takes the curse off of that edge being kind of slightly blurred, so you don't really notice it in the movement. It looks okay. But then that is a taste thing. That's up to whether or not that's how you want it to look. I'm choosing it to have it look that way. I'm liking the look of it, so that's why I'm choosing to do it that way. So but it is slower to color this way because, if I was just dropping the color in it, it'd be a lot faster. I could have just as easily done that. So like here now, I can just swath the color in because I can use a bigger brush. You see. Yeah. I bring the brush size down as I get smaller areas. There we go. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, okay, so got a streak of brown in here, right there. So you can see I'm kind of blurring it a little bit into the whiter area. So I'm taking into account that it's going to be okay when I blur the colors together. I think when I do end up painting the ocean in the background, I may have to, well, I might be able to drop the color in, but I have a feeling I may have to blur the edges because, yeah, because I think the airbrush is probably going to create um, a weird little gap. We'll see once I start doing it whether it does what I if whether it does what I think it's going to do. I don't know. I won't know until I do it. So yeah. I know I'm talking about something that I'm not doing right this minute when I do the ocean. You'll see when I do it. Probably get to it tonight. Let's see. I'm close. Let's see. About smaller. Yeah. Hmm. I'm gonna erase a little bit of that. I don't so I have that much bleeding into the ocean there. Okay. Oops. What's that? Oh, let's see. Uh, right. There we go. Hmm. Hmm. Go. Right. There we go. Yeah, I think once I start putting the blue water behind it, it's gonna show up these edges. I'm sure of that now. I think I can see that's gonna happen. We may be able to dump the color and then still blur the edges or soften the edges. We'll see. We'll see shortly. How much time we got? Yeah, we've got time to do that. Let's see. Because I think the other fish, there's not that many images of that other fish. Okay, so let's see, where are we at here? Where's the other fish come in? Oh, there it is right there. So the other fish comes in right here. Hmm. You know, I'm going to try something here. I'm going to make this fish green. Yeah. That'll make them stand out, huh? Yeah. There you go. Make them green. Yeah. Green and yellow. You know what? We'll have the, wow, that's cool. Yeah, so green. Yeah. Maybe have, well, let's see. Bring this down. Well, maybe have all that. Yeah, we'll have all this be green here. Yeah. And then this part here will be like a lighter. Yeah, like that. So it'll jump out at you. Okay, so then that's just going to be green. So yeah, there wasn't much to, I knew there wasn't much to it. Okay, good. Right. Okay, let's see. Yeah. Okay, well, let's see then. I would say on the water, well, let's see. Maybe, instead of using the same color, maybe we'll go to a darker color. Let's see. Maybe we'll go to this. Now, let's see. If I were to do, let me see something here. If I paint bucket the blue like that, that's cool. Um, see, do I want to be that dark though? Let's see. So we're going from like, see, that blue to, that would be a much darker blue. Let's see, maybe we can go to a blue that's kind of somewhere in the middle. like this. That's kind of good. Yeah. So, let's see. Uh, what happened? So where was the color? Let's go backwards. Man. So if I'm going from there, oh yeah, okay, well that's kind of a natural. Okay, I can buy that. So then, all right, yeah. So then, yeah, okay, that's not bad. All right. So let's see. So you see what I mean is that you see I'm dropping the color in, but I'm still having to go back and go over everything because this color, because I use the airbrush, you see, to paint those soft edges, and that's why I have all that white breakage around everything. Because I didn't paint it, I wanted the soft edges on the whale, and so I used the airbrush. But if I drop color in the airbrush mode, then what happens is it shows breaks between the color lines show breaks because I was blending edges. So that's why there's little white crevices around everything. The minute that I put the blue down, so now I have to go over each of the areas that were painted around the whales to fill in that blue color so that there's no gaps in there. That's what I'm doing now. When I was talking about this earlier and I was saying, I think that's what's going to happen, this is what I thought would happen, and I was right. But you can see that it's filling in the spaces very nicely. I just make a big brush out of it, and I just go over those edges, you can see, and then it gets rid of the little white areas. And I'm keeping it in an airbrush setting when I'm doing that. So, I drop the color in with the paintbrush in the airbrush setting, and then I grab a brush. I'm still in the airbrush setting, and I just sweep that brush over everything, and then that's how we're getting what we're getting. But I have to do that because as you can see, we have these edges that are white, and we don't want those edges. We want it to look seamless. Like here, for instance, I've even got lines that I didn't erase when I was doing the animation. So when I drop the color in, you can see the lines indicate that, show where the color stops at that line. Yeah. I mean, this is a little more effort that you have to put in to make up the difference. But, I don't know. I think it's worth it. I think it looks nice in the end. Yeah. each time you add a new scene to your rough animator file, you know, the only real drawback to working this way is that, the longer your film gets, the longer it takes for you to get to the new scene to see it once you've animated it, because it's way at the end of everything. So that's the drawback of that. But I don't know if that's really a drawback. Maybe it's not. I guess it just depends on how you look at the whole thing. I was mentioning the last time I was working that I think somebody should come up with a way to get AI to do in betweens for you, because I think that would be a great thing. So, and I'm going to try it. And I say it, put it out there for others that might be playing with AI. I'm wondering if AI can do that. I'm thinking, I don't know why it wouldn't be able to do it, but then again, there's so many factors involved in creating in-betweens in animation. It's not quite as simple. It's not like necessarily blurring drawings together. So it's kind of hard to say, I wonder what AI would give us. There's really no way to know unless you try it and see what you get. My guess is that it'll give you something. I don't know what. The first time we've seen AI do stuff that was movement, it created some pretty funky, wonky looking things, but you can see how quickly AI learned to create more seamless looking stuff. So I would think that, it could probably create in-betweens, but like I said, I don't know. Maybe some of you out there will try it. I know I'm going to eventually try it, and of course when I do, and if I see it works, you kind of know about it, because I'll probably be doing it in one of my lessons. Seems like this would be something that I think we all could benefit from. All right, good people. We are at 23 minutes, so I'm going to stop here. So, yeah, fun. All right, well, hey, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a great evening. As I always say, thank the Lord for your talents and gifts. He's blessed us all. We should be very thankful for what we got from him. See you tomorrow, and don't forget, Jesus is Lord.